Hello, RC friends. That is RC friends that I made years ago on the Facebook forum and the other RC forum, and then there's many of you who have started RC since I have left the Facebook world. And hello, you may not know who I am, but I'm Beth. Nice to meet you. And really this video is for other people as well. Anybody who has children maybe might be interested in this. I am not going to hurry up and get my message across in 3 minutes like I usually try to do. I'm going to slow it down, just take a little bit of time to talk through some things. And so I'm assuming if you don't want to hear what I have to say, you're going to just check out now. It's a good time to do that, and don't waste your time. But for the rest of you who want to hear what I have to say, let's get going. First thing, you can step away from your phone. You can back up. You don't really have to watch super close when I'm talking about. If I show a few things, it's not like high resolution is required to see it, because that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. But let me back up a little bit, and I'll start when I first started using Robinson curriculum, and I had that decision to face: what edition of the math book, right, of the Saxon math books, what edition am I going to use? And I knew in my heart that I would not be happy with the new book or the current book or whatever. Something inside me said, you're not going to be happy until you do the old one. Use the old book, first edition, right? But I justified it in my head. I rationalized it, and I thought, well, everybody else uses the current book, and really that's the only one that's available on the market, really, unless you search used bookstores. So I went with the current edition and used it for a few months, and then it turns out I did not like it, and then I switched back to the first edition, and I really like that book even now. With my other kids who've grown up, everybody's using it. So what I learned through that process was to trust my instinct a little better. And I'm not sure it's instinct at this point after walking these few decades with the Lord. I'm not so sure it's all instinct, but is He not speaking to me and helping me with these decisions and guiding me? I'm not saying He says these things to everyone. It's a personal relationship, and He speaks to us individually if we'll listen. And I think that's one of the things I learned with the whole Saxon Math Book Edition question. And as for other homeschool questions, every morning I'd get on Facebook and go, or I just have a problem or a question in my homeschool in those early years, and I'd get on Facebook and ask the question. And then somebody would say, well, do this. And I'm like, well, I already did that. To myself. I didn't type all these out. And then somebody would say, well, try this. And I would think, well, I don't want to do that because of this. And somebody else would say, try this. And I go, well, I don't want to do it that way. And they would offer all kinds of advice, very good advice. And I would go, in my head, I would refute it. Why I didn't want to try that or to do it that way. And then I asked myself my own question. Well, if you don't want to do it any of these ways that people are suggesting, well, then why did you ask? Why did I ask the question? If I knew what I wanted to do anyway, why do I even ask? Because I need to talk things out, and maybe that's what it is. I need the external processing to clarify my decision in my head. So all these are processes where I'm learning more to trust these certain feelings that I have, and I think I've proven this to my husband. This is what is generally called women's intuition, right? If you give me 40 hours alone on a computer, I can give you a spreadsheet with all kinds of data to back this stuff up, and I will reach the same conclusion that I would have if you'd just taken my initial feeling on it. I don't think I have a good feeling about that. Okay, so where am I going with all this? Okay, with the Robinson curriculum book list, there are different ways to do it. You can print the books, you can buy the books, or I know like almost all the books are in the public domain and available free on the e-readers. And in the beginning, I had that feeling, just like I did about the math. I just have this internal aversion to all electronics, you know, and I've tried to come up with reasons why is that. You know, I've had to live with carpal tunnel for 25 years. So why get my kids started on a computer down that path right from the beginning, right? So I've just had this internal delay about bringing in electronics. And I think that's been a good decision, but I don't think I understood the real problems, why it's been a good idea for us to avoid this in our house. And that is, it's not so much the screen or how harmful it is on your eyes, because I don't know really if that's harmful or not to be staring at a screen all day, but I think the point is more the Wi-Fi signals coming to your phone. And you know, I don't have time, I don't have a laboratory and a staff and resources to fully investigate every one of these ideas, but there are so many ideas out there. It brings a question, like maybe these iPads in our laps aren't such a great idea. And if you have time, you know, I don't have all the time or the resources to go investigate scientifically every one of these claims. But I do have, you know, maybe a little more time than many. Some of you have time and resources to go check these things out. So I think that's what I'm asking you to do. But then again, I found some very simple things that might be helpful or might not, but basically free to implement, relatively speaking, and, you know, probably won't hurt. And if we have to have, you know, complete scientific proof that something is safe before we implement it, like one of these little things I'm going to show you, well then none of us would be using a smartphone at all, or an iPad at all, or any of these things with the Wi-Fi access, because we don't really know all these things that are being radiated toward it and away from it. And if you sign the user agreement to accept the operating system on your phone, you have already accepted that you understand, because that's where it is in the user agreement, that your phone is not supposed to touch your head. You're supposed to keep some airspace. So even Apple acknowledges that there's a problem with this. But really, does it help to keep it a millimeter away? How about like a foot away, 2 feet away? How about across the room? Okay, so just some very tiny little things that you can implement that may help or may not, if you are going to let your kids use a reader or an iPad or whatever. I would say the biggest thing is, I just ran across, I mean, YouTube suggests and recommends all kinds of things for me that I wish I didn't watch all of them, but increase in testicular cancer in boys. Possibly related to sitting Indian style on the floor with your Xbox for how many hours a day? I don't know. I don't know that it takes a long time. But the Wi-Fi signals from all these devices are coming, they're pointing right at the abdomen, on the children, on your kids, on you. If you use it, look, where do you hold the thing, right? Where do you hold your phone when you're watching it, checking your email, whatever? It's all just pointing right at you. So, if you are going to let your kids use apps on your phone, like little children, I see little toddlers, you know, in a restaurant, just totally checked out on the phone already. If you're going to let your kids or your babies use your phone to just occupy them and give them something to do while you're waiting somewhere or whatever, consider putting your phone in airplane mode. I'm not sure that removes all these signals, but it has to help a little bit. Pretty sure it can't hurt. Can't hurt. I would obviously, strict RC followers would say no electronics at all. But if you are going to give your kids the electronic device to play with, airplane mode, please. I would strongly recommend that. I don't know what you do for a Wi-Fi Xbox. That's just not in my world right now. If you have any ideas, you can do that. You know, if your kid has to have internet access on the electronic device while they're playing with it or working on it or whatever, consider aluminum foil. I don't know. There's people on YouTube who have done tests. I do not have the appropriate kind of meter. If any of you have a tri-field meter or similar equipment and can do a scientific study on this for us, a little science project, wouldn't that be great? Some of you homeschooled young men and women, help us out. You know, and I've seen plenty of demonstrations on YouTube. You wrap your phone in aluminum foil. Can you call it? No. Or will it receive the signal? No. But it would really help if you had the meter. Is it trying to get a signal? Is it sending? Is it receiving? What's going on? Wrapping it in aluminum foil. Or, you know, if you want to get really crazy, go to Hobby Lobby and get some copper sheet. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Get some different materials and wrap them up in this and see if it helps. If this will shield the Wi-Fi from your device, you know, put it in front of yourself. That's not rocket science. It will look crazy, but if you're homeschooling your PJs all day, is anybody ever going to know? You know, aluminum, copper wire. Okay. Then another thing with the devices, besides the microwave radiation is coming to and from them, and all your smart appliances and your smart meter on the outside of your house and all these other things, is hypothetically, theoretically, I've heard it mentioned, it could be the blue light from the device. The blue light being something that you're not supposed to see at night, and it will, at the very least, it will interfere with your circadian rhythms and inhibit your sleep. So very simple. I bought some glasses with amber tinted lenses. It's supposed to filter out the blue light. You know, I could be totally wrong. This just could be a total waste of money, but you know what? It was $12.99 on Amazon. And sometimes I'm just like, why not? Why not try it? So, yes, these are my new readers. I use them when staring at a screen. And if you, yes, my family might be like yours and they might revolt when I try and put yellow glasses on them all. But yellow light would do the same. Get a yellow bulb and shine it on the screen while you're all watching TV. And I just don't envision a lot of RC families glued to a TV set for a lot of time at all. But just some yellow light in your room, yellow light at the screens. And other than that, you know, I'm just trying really to stay away from the screen as much as possible. Turn the phone off, go outside. You know, there's a lot of weeds growing in my garden that could use some attention. So, fortunately, it's raining today and I don't have to go do that. I have a valid excuse today not to go weed the garden. Okay, so have I sparked any motivation in you at all to help me figure this out with the different materials and just different measurements? If somebody has the tri-field meter or similar equipment, please, you know, make some readings and post some videos for us, because I'd like to know with actual numbers what's really going on, because we don't have all the time in the world and there are way too many problems. I can only throw them out there, some of them, and I need help figuring this stuff out. So what's my point? Stay away from your electronic devices, I think, is obviously the best course of action. Airplane mode as much as possible, especially if you're driving in a vehicle. It's been a long time since I studied Faraday cage, but your vehicle might be one. And if you're driving around with your cell phone and you're getting really sleepy, take some notes, run some experiments, see what happens. Over a period of time, over a period of 6 months, you could have some data Like when I drive with it in airplane mode, I feel much better. I mean, just make a hypothesis. A hypothesis does not have to be reasonable or make sense. It can be totally crazy. And just because your experiment goes one way or the other doesn't mean you've proved it right or wrong. But it could lead to a better hypothesis, and you'll have more information than you did before, for sure. Okay, so yeah, get away from the electronics as much as possible, particularly the Wi-Fi radiation. And if you can't do that, block it as much as possible. I don't know if this blocks it at all or how much it does. Try it, measure it. Someone please measure it and figure it out. And filter the blue light also. And that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening. I hope your homeschool's going well. I'm proud of you for taking care of your family. And I really appreciate you listening. And I hope I need to be quiet so we get away from the phone.